I think we can all agree that every kid deserves a good education. But when you hear politicians and public officials say that schools are failing, they'll blame the teacher, the principal, the administrators, the superintendent, the school district, but never themselves. Though it turns out that maybe they're the ones who have the most power to fix the issues that are standing in the way of a kid getting a good education.
What comes to mind when you think of a good school? Is it a pretty building with a playground, happy kids, making good grades, graduating on time? The thing is, when we say that a school is a good school, it doesn't just affect the people walking the hallways. It can also have a huge effect on local neighborhoods. Highly rated schools can add tens of thousands of dollars to property values, which in turn means more property taxes, which pay for those local schools. And those property values attract other resources, churches, local businesses, places for kids to play, which brings up an interesting question. Is the school itself good, or is it the community around it and the school and its reputation get the benefits? And if that's the case, what does it tell us about schools that we think aren't good? Turns out, typically schools contribute just 20 to 30% to a kid's educational outcome. The other 70 to 80% factors outside a school's control. Now, experts don't deny that schools do matter, but other factors may matter more. Things like family income. How much money a family makes strongly affects rates of poverty, stress, stability, which all correlate to educational success. And income can affect parental involvement because it's hard for mom and dad to be home reading with their kids if they've got to work 2 or more jobs just to make ends meet. And that's an issue that schools can't fix. How about access to pre-K before kids are even old enough for school? Researchers say those first 5 years exposure to books and language and play can jumpstart the rest of a kid's education. And once kids do get to school, have they had enough to eat? Studies show hungry kids don't perform as well in class, yet food insecurity affects 1 in 5 kids. Again, a factor outside a school's control. Now, addressing all these factors requires money. Nobel Prize-winning economist James Heckman says every dollar invested in high-quality early childhood education could return up to $13 in long-term benefits, reduced crime, better health outcomes, and higher wages. And who controls that money? Here's a hint. It's not the principal or the teacher. Instead, it's mostly politicians at the local, state, and national level. Many who criticize schools the loudest, yet they're the ones who set policies that affect things like wages and affordable housing and food insecurity. Now, none of this is to say that teachers shouldn't be held accountable or that teacher quality and school resources don't matter. They do. A great teacher can be life-changing, especially for those students who lack support systems at home. But among all the other factors, the school is just one of them on the list. Yet it's far too easy for public officials to just blame the schools or the teachers. But until they address the social and economic issues that stand in the way of a kid's education, maybe it's not the schools that are failing.